Hello, I'm Robert, fact-checking and helping you if you're scared of many of the things that you read on the internet. There's an awful lot of nonsense on the internet. And this time it's about people who are scared that we're all going to die of heat. And this fails the most basic fact check. It's not true at all. Actually, it turns out that there's far more death at the moment from extreme cold than there is from extreme heat. And this must be the most a very thorough study. It's the most thorough study yet. It was actually set up to look into this particular topic of the effects of deaths on temperature. And it has some limitations, but I might go into that a little bit. But it turns out that it's very, very clear. This talks about some of the limitations, such as age, structure, sex and deaths because of influenza. But if you look at those, even taking account of those, it's still very, very clear. The difference, the deaths from cold are far more than deaths from heat, even if you take account of all the deaths from influenza in the entire world to try and change the difference. And this is the summary of their results. And the blue, so this blue shows it graphically. So all those blue are the deaths from cold, and the reds are the deaths from heat. And actually, even in Australia, what's that number? 14,200 died of extreme cold, and 2,300 from extreme heat, according to their statistics. And but Australia, and you might wonder, how can that possibly be the case? You think of Australia as just being a hot, hot, hot country, unless you actually live there. But actually, although Australia is most famous for its deserts and its kangaroos and its, the very hot climate and its fires and so on, it also has ski resorts and snowy mountains and very cold areas too. The snowy mountains, that's the actual name, are covered in snow in winter. And it turns out that the deaths from the cold in these cold places in Australia way outnumber the deaths from the heat in the hot places. So why is that? Well, if we were penguins, then we wouldn't be dying of cold. If we were penguins, then heat would be very difficult for us. We'd be mostly living in Antarctica, and then some very hardy penguins, they swim up to South Africa, but there wouldn't be any of us living in deserts. But it's our physiology, it's the kind of animal we are, is the reason why we die of cold and don't die of heat. And so humans, they are heat adapted. There are not many mammals that are as well adapted to heat as humans are. The only other ones are hippos and horses, monkeys and apes. Even cows, they're not adapted like us. Cows do have some sweat glands in their noses, but that's not nearly enough to cool themselves down in sweat. So other mammals, they use panting, and when it's very hot, then they're just less active, and they do a lot of panting. And that applies to dogs too. Dogs are the same situation. They've got a few sweat glands in their nose, not nearly enough. If it's very hot, they lie in the shade and pant. They couldn't run they couldn't run a marathon. A dog couldn't run a marathon on a hot day. But humans, no problem. And we humans have lived in very hot places like Kalahari Desert, with almost no tools, no air conditioning, no water to speak, very little water, very little access to water, digging out plants, getting water from a few plants that grow in the desert, that sort of thing. So that's why we aren't dying of heat as temperatures increase, because we are very well adapted to heat. And if you look at the projected effects, and this is looking at the estimates from various studies of potential excess deaths due to temperature. And if you look forward to 2 degrees C, then even at 2 degrees C, and some of the studies suggest So this is like a study I just looked at now. For the last 20 years, we've actually had a decrease in mortality due to temperature extremes. And if you look at 2 degrees C, then some studies, even at 2 degrees C, say we will have less deaths due to temperature extremes because the warming reduces the amount of death cold, even though it increases the deaths from heat. And then if you keep on going up, well, we'll see 3 degrees C is partly possible. If the IPCC in 2018 said that if you take account of the way humans are going to react as temperatures rise, if we're doing inadequate now, even if we were to completely give up all the climate action we're doing today, which is now impossible, and there's no way that's going to happen, then we would be bound to bring it back in again later on as temperatures rise. Taking that into account, 3 degrees C is the highest we saw as possible in 2018. I think now it would be much lower, maybe 2.5 degrees C or something would be the highest possible if you imagine that we would totally give up on our action today, which we're not going to do. And so these figures up here, you can just forget them. They're interesting to model as they're not realistic possibilities for the future. And I see things very likely we go above 2C myself, going up above even the worst possible, that's the worst. So nowhere gets too hot for humans in any realistic scenario. And well, that's basically that's it. What else was I going to say? Let's just go quickly through. I'm just going to do this a little bit at a time to keep it short videos. So is there anything I've missed out? Oh, just to make sure, there's one last thing I want to make clear, is that these are all preventable deaths. I say that in my graphic. So we're not talking about the world that's too hot for humans when people start dying. We're talking about heat waves, where because of our ability to sweat, and even people who are very elderly, and even infants, and people who are very sick, they're still not going to die in these heat waves, so long as they are careful, even if they don't have air conditioning. So long as they stay in the shade, they're sensible, they drink lots of water, and they have good ventilation, then they're not going to die. And so these are preventable deaths. And for example, these heat waves in Siberia that all the news was about, it was very dry there. Indeed, in Canada, in Siberia as well, but recently the news was about Canada. It's very dry there. They only get heat waves in the very far north when it's very dry, because it needs the air to be clear of clouds, it needs nice, dry, clear, blue skies. And they don't get anywhere near the record temperatures for humans on any scenario, even on those very hottest impossible scenarios. So these are all preventable deaths. And of course air conditioning makes it much more comfortable, and it's much better. And for instance, in cities where not many people can afford air conditioning, then they have these big air conditioned malls, and they encourage people to go in there at the hottest times of the day to cool down. So, do take advantage of that if you live in such a place. But you are not going to die of heat, even if you're very sick, as long as the air is reasonably dry, as it will be on all the possible scenarios, except there's some very small hotspots, mostly near the coast, where for a few hours it goes slightly above. This is a recent discovery. This is not new. It's been going on since the 1970s, but nobody really much noticed it, which shows how little of an effect this is in reality. That even if you're sick, you can withstand having a bit of a fever for a bit of an extra fever for a few hours, which is basically what happens if it goes above the limit for human beings. Then it doesn't mean you die, it means you have a bit of a fever. But that's only in very, very hot places, and in tiny hotspots that weren't actually even discovered until quite recently. It's been going on all along and nobody even noticed. So no, you're not going to, we're not all going to die of heat. Indeed, as long as you're sensible, you can avoid dying of heat even in the worst heat waves. Just be careful, follow the advice of your local government, follow the Red Cross advice on how to protect yourself against heat, and if you're in a place that is at risk of dying from cold, then it's much more important for you. For instance, where I live in Scotland, there's almost no risk of dying of heat in heat waves, and there's quite a high risk if you're elderly and if you don't look after yourself of dying of cold in very cold temperatures, in the cold periods of winter. But as the climate warms, then that risk will get less in Scotland. So in Scotland, where I live, we expect greatly reduced, could have a significant reduction in deaths from people getting too cold in winter. We have a winter heat allowance in order to help elderly people to stay warm, and of course wearing warm clothes and so on. So actually it's good to protect yourself against both. These are all preventable deaths, and depending where you live, if you're living in Canada too, it would be far more important to protect yourself against cold in winter, and your risk of dying of heat wave in summer would be minute, even if you're in one of these places where it gets very hot because the air is very dry. So anyway, I hope this helps you. Some of you who get scared by this infodemic or exaggerations and these claims that we're all going to die of heat. It is not true at all. It's not what scientists say. It's not in the IPCC reports. It's not in any of this serious, well-researched science on the topic. Just shout out to our group, Doomsday Debunked, on Facebook, where we help people who are scared of things like that. There are many debunkers there, and if you are yourself, if you're either knowledgeable about climate change, or climate change research or whatever, or you are able to just do what I do. I'm not a climate change researcher. I just know how to check up, how to fact check. From my background is research in maths, but it's very much the same topic. Is researching into any just fact checking, like a responsible science blogger or responsible journalist. And anyone who can do that is very helpful in helping the scared people who don't know how to do that. And then if you're very scared, then do join the group as well, and we can help you with these kinds of fears. Anyone joins, check the rules, the head of the group, before you post a comment. They're very important to help it to work properly. And of course, shout out again to, if you want to watch more videos like this, then you can follow me on YouTube, and if again you can follow me on Twitter too, and on Quora and so on. I'll probably tweet about this on Twitter, and of course this is from one of my articles on Quora. I'll put a link to the article in the video description.